Hey, it's A Helmet Collector here, and today's video we're going to take a look at the two-panel death card of Fedor Josef Brandl. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Right off the bat, card is not in very good condition, but we do see here that Fedor in his photograph is wearing a Luftwaffe marksmanship lanyard, which has been unusual to see on one of these cards. And moving to the bottom, in prayerful memory of Fedor Josef Brandl from Zettlich, Unteroffizier, which is an NCO and a Luftwaffe communication detachment, bearer of several awards, participant in all campaigns, who died on August 20th, 1944, after 7.5 years of service in France at the age of 23. May he rest in peace. So right off the bat, 7.5 years of service is one of the highest numbers I've ever seen on a death card. So working back from 1944, that means that he probably joined the German military sometime in 1937, somewhere around there, so well before the war actually started. And, it shows. He's had several awards. He's been in every campaign up to this point. And then he's killed on August 20th, 1944 in France. And I did actually find a casualty record for Josef. He was born on December 4th, 1919 in Zettlich, and was a member of the first company of Luftwaffe Abteilung Motorized 72. And he was killed by an onboard weapon shot to the shoulder and chest. Now, this is a bit odd because onboard weapon makes one think that it would have been an aircraft weapon, so he was strafed by an enemy plane. But generally, when we've seen that on other death cards, it's referred to as like a Fliegerschutz, or, shot by a fighter, a plane weapon, and not an onboard weapon. It's a very odd verbiage that's chosen here. And because of the odd wording, I think it's also possible that by onboard weapon, it might mean that he was shot from a moving vehicle. In other words, a drive-by shooting, because the town that he was killed in, Tournon, was not liberated at the point when he died. So it doesn't seem like it was American soldiers. Could be an American aircraft, based off the onboard weapon. But there was also some pretty heavy resistance activity in the area. So it is possible that he was shot by resistance fighters at the time, because at least as far as I can tell, the town was occupied by the Germans through the end of August. So at least for another couple weeks after Josef's death before it was liberated. Interestingly, to kind of back up the resistance angle, on August 20th, 1944, the day of Josef's death, 2 French civilians were executed by the Germans in Tournon. Now, one seems to be unrelated to Josef's death. The other, if the resistance angle is correct, could be. So the first gentleman, Georges Riofel, was shot by a German soldier as he fled from them. Basically, what I could gather happened from this resistance website that had this information is that there was a fire in Tournon, and several firefighters showed up to, put out the fire and, try to save the building. And some German soldiers walked up to them and started threatening them because a bottle of sparkling wine had disappeared from their truck. And Georges, for whatever reason, decided to try to get away from this situation, and he was shot while trying to get away from them. So that seems to be probably unrelated to what happened to Josef. The other gentleman, Frederick Bessekier, who was a World War I veteran, was shot at 9:30 a.m., and I couldn't find any other information on why he was shot. So I have to wonder, given the odd wording with the onboard weapon, if, as I said earlier, Josef was shot in some kind of drive-by shooting, hence the onboard weapon, and as a result, they just grabbed this random French civilian and executed him in a reprisal killing, which unfortunately was very common. But unfortunately, without more information, we'll never know for sure. Now, Josef is actually buried in the Dagneux Military Cemetery, Block 13, Row 13, Grave 450. Now, moving to the bottom of the card here. My good husband and father is no longer alive. He went to France with the army. A bullet broke your good heart. How bitter the pain is for me. Our joy and our happiness were too short. You left me a little son behind. And moving to the back of the card here. You have written often to us, don't worry, my dears, I'll be back until we meet again. But it can't happen now. And should the bells of peace ring and the victors return home jubilantly, then our tears will flow hotter and we will stand sadly at the side. See, overall, very interesting card with a bit of an odd mystery tied to it. And as I've said in previous videos, the condition of this card isn't good, but as has been the case in several times, we still got a very interesting story out of it and got some good information as a result. So definitely a case of never judging the book by its cover. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I will see you all again very soon.